individual landlord's point of view, if you're looking to secure a tenant, I think it's very good. It's a very landlord-friendly market at the moment. Supply of stock is low, and rents are at record highs. So in that respect, it's good from the landlord's point of view. On the flip side of that, obviously costs are ever increasing for landlords, and that's been slowly, costs have been slowly going up for the last several years. Things like service charge increases, EPC regulations, tax exemptions have been squeezed, and more recently things like interest rates, which have gone up quite substantially in recent times, and further improvements to EPC standards which are coming through, all kind of contribute to substantial increases in cost for landlords, and in turn that has driven many individual landlords away from the rental market. In the outer zones, those regions appeal to people like BTR providers, and the reason for that is because the pound per square foot value is substantially lower than in super prime. So I think naturally, therefore, you will see more housing come in the outer zones of London rather than in central London and super prime. What I would say is that the Mayor of London has worked with local housing authorities to deliver more build starts than in a long time. I think the highest number since the 80s. So in that respect, I think there is an element of a rescue plan. Developments, so Prime, for example, Westminster are regenerating Ebury Bridge, and that will provide 780 new homes to the market, 50% of which are affordable. So in that respect, there are, I think local authorities are trying to come up with rescue plans, as is the Mayor of London. Whether or not the central government is coming up with a fundamental rescue plan, it's difficult to say. I mean, the pieces of legislation that are coming through, Renters Reform Bill, for example, I completely understand the reasoning behind it, and I understand that, the government wants to protect renters, and there are more renters now than there ever have been, but the knock-on effects that pieces of legislation like that have, certainly for the last 10 years, do seem to have the opposite effect, which is essentially driving rents up for renters. There will always be demand for super prime. The fact that stock is low and rents are really high just does go to show that nothing's sitting on the market for very long at the moment. There was a bit of an exodus out of central London during the pandemic for obvious reasons, but over the last 2 years we have seen quite a substantial increase of people returning to London. You've also got all of the best universities here as well, so the student market is very prominent in prime London, as is the corporate market, people that want to be close to work. I would say people leaving central London is more about affordability based on what we're seeing than necessarily a desire to physically leave central London. There will be cases, it's a case-by-case basis and personal preferences. There will be instances where people will want to move to the likes of East London because they're hip. But I think fundamentally it's an affordability issue. If I look at our renewals, for example, over the last 12 months, I think our renewal rates are higher than they've ever been, and in a lot of instances the main reason why people aren't renewing is because they can't afford the rent increases that come with having to renew.